The following podcast will contain spoilers and explicit language. Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of
Yeah, it's that bad.
tonight's movie with a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 2009's The Uninvited. And tonight, we will be asking the question, is it really that bad? My name is Joel.
And I'm Martin.
And where to begin with this one? Let's do a quick plot synopsis. After the death of her ill mother in a fire, the young teenager Anna tries to commit suicide and is sent to a mental institution for treatment. 10 months later, Anna still cannot remember what had happened on the night her mother died. Her psychiatric doctor, Dr. Silberling, however, discharges her, telling her she has resolved her issues. Anna finds that her mother's former nurse, Rachel Summers, is her stepmother now. Anna meets her beloved sister Alex swimming in the sea. As time moves on, Anna is haunted by ghosts, and she believes that Rachel killed her mother. Alex and Anna decide to look for evidence to prove that Rachel is the murderer, and Anna discovers the truth about the fire in the boathouse. So Martin, let's see. What did you think of The Uninvited?
As far as The Uninvited goes, I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it looked good. I liked the way it was shot. There was a few weird, super close-up face shots with weird skewed angles that were a little annoying. But other than that, it was entertaining, and I had a good time watching it, which is strange because usually these Japanese horror remakes usually leave me feeling like bored, just uninterested.
This movie in particular has a really big J-horror pedigree. The guys who produced it are the same people that did The Ring, right? And The Grudge, or something like that. No, Disturbia.
Right. They did Disturbia and The Ring. I don't think they did The Grudge.
No, yeah, Disturbia. And The Grudge. Or The Ring. Whatever. So, yeah, it's like, what? There's so many of these stupid fucking movies. They all just blend into one another. You know?
The Ring is what started it all, I guess.
No, yeah, it is their fault that we just got J-horror after J-horror after J-horror, ridiculous, just clones of one another. These people are the reason. It's like a septic tank burst, and all this shit just oozed out all over us. You know, everybody copies it. And just look at the last movie we watched, The Unborn. That movie just, like I said before, paint by numbers, just J-horror garbage from beginning to end. And they're to blame, the people that made this movie.
It's really unfortunate because now, just normal horror movies that didn't have any J-horror, nothing to do with Japanese horror at all, are starting to take their tricks and tips from J-horror films, such as whatever the ghost or monster is going to be clipping its way through the scene, like they're going to cut out they're going to cut out frames so it looks like the monster is having an epileptic seizure as it's moving across the room.
I'm just going to jitter my way across the room to you.
It's going to jitterbug on the floor all the way across to your bed, which I don't find scary. And another problem is the lone kid that looks like he had flour poured all over his body. He's completely white. He doesn't say anything. He just stares at you.
Hi.
And I don't think that that's scary either. If that happened to me, I would probably just kick the kid in the face because it's a little kid.
Yeah, but what if it's a Dybbuk?
You're right. If it was a Dybbuk, that'd be a problem. I didn't see any Dybbuks in this movie.
No, this movie was Dybbuk free.
I had my eye.
So maybe they used their Clobbermeister.
My eye open for Dybbuks during this entire movie. I didn't see any.
This movie also has a bit of a pedigree to Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
It was the Anna, the lead.
The main girl, Emily Browning, was originally in Lemony Snicket. She was the main girl, one of the Baudelaire girls. I can't remember what her name is right now.
Did her lips?
They looked amazing.
Did they look that good in Lemony Snicket's Series?
Yes, they looked even better.
Because her lips looked so good in this movie.
Another Lemony Snicket connection is that I actually picked this up the first time I saw this movie. The psychiatrist's name is Dr. Silberling.
Yeah.
The guy who directed Lemony Snicket Brad Silberling. What do you think of that?
You just blew my mind.
Yeah.
There's literally blood
I am a
coming.
walking-
There's blood coming out of my nose right
I am
now.
the walking IMDb fun fact right here. There. I knew that. I saw that going in. I was like, oh, that's great. Okay, Martin, I'm going to ask you something that is quickly becoming a recurring theme on this podcast. What did you think of the attractiveness of the three main female leads in this movie? We're going to start with Emily Browning.
I find her super hot.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, she's Australian. She's hiding a very thick Australian accent in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, like in the behind the scenes stuff for Lemony Snicket, she's got the
She's got the dingo ate my baby.
put another strip on the
Put another strip
bob,
on the bob, yeah,
kind of
okay.
thing, Crocodile Dundee.
What's great about her is she's got it all. She's short. She's got really full lips. She's
The fullest
of lips. I have no idea what she could be doing with them, but I'd like to imagine.
So much so that they even made a plot point in the movie where
Where they're putting lipstick. They're literally smearing lipstick onto her lips in front of a mirror.
yeah.
You know, you have beautifully shaped lips. You just don't know what to do with them. Men will go on about a woman's eyes, but that's bullshit. What they really want is a girl with a pretty mouth.
All right, here's something else that's interesting about the female leads in this movie. Why was there so much sexual tension between her sister, her stepmother? They're laying in bed together. They're rubbing each other's arms. That had to have been done on purpose.
I'm going to tell you right this. I don't buy for a second that those two girls are related. That they're sisters.
No, they don't look like sisters.
Not at all.
Not at all. Which made it hotter or less hot depending on what you enjoy. Whether you're into wincest or not.
Ooh,
wincest.
Okay, Emily Browning, she looks amazing. Great lips, great stuff, but she I don't know how I'm going to come off on this, but she looked a lot better in Lemony Snicket back when she was like 14. Or whatever. And I'll tell you why. Here's my case.
Yeah,
her head.
The FBI party van's gonna come.
Yep.
It's gonna be knocking
there's
soon.
gonna be like,
knocking soon. They're gonna be taking your hard drive.
Hello? That's the end of this podcast for good. No, like the size of her head was more relatively proportional to the rest of her body. Something happened to her in the intervening
Where her head's
4
bigger,
years.
right?
Yeah. In the intervening 5 years between Lemony Snicket and this, like her head got like wider or something. We need to go see Sucker Punch because I have a feeling they made her do all this training workout to be able to fight. I bet you she lost that skull weight.
Skull weight.
It went right to her lips.
It went right
where it belongs. And I bet you she's going to look amazing in that movie. And she's a blonde in that one. So she's going to spice it up.
What do you think's going to happen to the back end?
Her derriere?
Her derriere. I'm more interested in
I'm
that.
sure it's tone and fit after all that training that they're making her do. They didn't really show it in this movie. We didn't get any peek of that.
No, we didn't. There was insinuation.
By the way, she's what, 19? She must be at least 18 or 19 in this movie, right? If she was 14 in Lemony Snicket 5 years back in 2004, here we are 5 years later. She's got to be, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. You're the one who has her birthday on a calendar.
I
room,
have
so.
a shrine to her in my closet. I count down the days to Sucker Punch. I can't wait. And the other girl, let's see, what was her name?
Her sister was attractive too. Her sister, I think, was the second most attractive female in this movie, and then the mother was the third. However, if they just cut the movie at that scene where the mother is being introduced with the
sweaty breasts,
with the sweaty chesticles sticking out, I would have to rate her mother as number 2.
That was Elizabeth Banks. You know, if they could somehow surgically remove Emily Browning's lips and put them on the sister's head. We'd have the perfect human.
But they're taking Banks' breasts and putting them on.
Yes. We need to do a triple bypass. Wait, oh yeah. So the second sister will be the base body.
Will be the base body. You know what's interesting? Men and women do this all the time. They take body parts like they're Dr. Frankenstein and they're going to construct a perfect human. The idea of it is funny, I guess, but it's also disgusting when you think about it. You're like cutting these people up.
Oh, look at this. The older sister's name is Ariel Kebble, and she starred in The Grudge 2. There's your J horror connection right there.
Just can't get away.
Yeah. Oh, she was in John Tucker Must Die. One of your favorites, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, great movie. You know what? That actually would be a good movie for this.
John Tucker Must Die?
I would love to rip that.
I would rather
shit.
die than watch it.
I would love to rip that apart.
But yeah, you're right. It would be the perfect candidate
to rip that apart
for this show.
All right. So since we're on the on the subject of sisters here, what did you think about the bed scene?
There's a scene in the movie where the two sisters are lying in bed, caressing each other, sensually,
like
rubbing
very
each
sensually,
other,
and she's like,
consoling each other.
Please stay with me.
Don't go.
Please, you have to lay in bed with me until I fall asleep. just don't leave me. To which her sister replies, "Oh man, I can't even imagine how many times we've done this.
If I had $10,
for every time we've done this,
she'd be a multimillionaire, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to imply.
I'm gonna go to bed. No, please stay with me till I fall asleep.
Oh, if I had $10 for every time I heard that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No funny stuff.
They also go around taking batteries out of vibrators, but that's a whole nother.
That was an amazing scene. There's a vibrator in this PG-13 J-horror movie. They find a vibrator.
Meet Mr. Chubby.
It's disgusting. No, I'm not touching that.
I'm surprised they didn't do like anything else with it. Like they drop it on the floor and it vibrates. That's like one of the big scares. Yeah, that'd have been amazing.
That would have scared me. Hey, okay, so the things popping out to scare you.
There were nowhere near as many as those as there were in the unborn in this.
However,
movie.
in this one, it got me one time.
I saw you. I jumped 10 feet into the air.
Fuck you.
You did 10 feet. You did a backflip.
Yeah, I was attached to the ceiling like a cat.
Your hair was white when you came back down.
It got me. It was good.
Describe it. What was the scene?
The scene was a lead into her opening a garbage bag. Now, a little backstory on these garbage bags. Throughout the movie, she's opening up garbage bags, and usually there's some type of moving body in them. In this one, there wasn't. Just a can of tomato sauce falls out and rolls on the ground, resembling blood, and goes underneath a stove, like a little kind of like a 6-inch space underneath the stove from the floor. She starts cleaning it up, and the tension had died down almost completely at that point. And then this freaking thing, I don't even know what the hell it was, comes freaking out trying to grab her. And that really, it got me good.
It scraped his nails on the floor like a chalkboard, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Like that noise.
It looked horrible, though.
The effect?
Yeah, the effect was horrendous.
Was piss poor.
It was piss poor, but it still scared me. I mean,
I think it worked in this movie because they how many of those loud noise scares were there? There were only like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
3 at the most, probably. Whereas in the unborn, there was one every 30 seconds. So you're just conditioned to it for it, you know? You expect it.
Yeah.
In this movie, it was kind of unexpected. Even though you knew something was going to happen the way they built it up, but whatever.
What did you think about the father? Did you think he was selfish?
I was telling you about this before. The parents in this movie are very one-dimensional characters. The father in particular, he has no depth whatsoever. He exists only to sell the ending of the movie. Something happens in the movie that we're going to talk about in a little bit, and he is the way he is just so the ending works. I'll talk to that in a second. Is he selfish? Yes.
Yes, he is.
I'll tell you why. He is fucking the nurse 10 months after the wife dies.
He's fucking the nurse before his wife dies.
Oh, that's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. I forgot about that. He was banging the nurse while the mother was wasting away.
Was wasting away, dying of cancer or some other terminal illness.
We all have needs.
Yeah, I guess you can't bang a cancer patient. Why? What the hell's wrong with you, Joel? Why can't you bang a cancer patient?
You're right. They have equal rights too. You know, we treat them like normal people.
We should treat them.
Like anybody.
I don't care how much cancer they have.
There's nothing wrong with them.
I don't care how much cancer they have. They're getting laid.
Hey, Elizabeth Banks looks pretty good. So if you were in that situation, sex-starved, a dying wife who you shudder away in an...
Yeah, why was she
an
out in the
alternate
boathouse?
building?
Why was she in the... Okay, here's something really funny and doesn't make any sense. Apparently his wife is dying, wasting away of cancer. This father, who is a, I guess, successful author because he owns a enormous house in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
Essentially is banging the nurse aide, takes his cancer-riddled wife, and puts her out in the boathouse / gas line transformer room.
She claims
The
that...
fumes alone, I feel, would be a problem for breathing, but I guess since she's dying already, it doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Who cares?
You know, they said that she wanted to be out there.
But
Somehow I doubt that.
But they also said that she couldn't talk, so that they had a bell to ring,
Like a dog.
like a dog. So I don't know if her opinion was heard properly. But yeah, he was very selfish, almost to the point where it's distasteful to even watch. But we don't know if he actually was that selfish because, after all,
the movie we are seeing is being viewed through the eyes of an unreliable narrator.
The narrator is the protagonist, antagonist,
Yes.
Anna.
Yes.
And she has an extremely skewed version of everything that happened.
Yes. I want to ask you something. The trailers sell this movie to be a very straightforward J-horror movie in which the hero girl has to confront her dad's new girlfriend, and the implication being that the girlfriend has killed a string of people prior to the father, right?
Correct.
And that the hero girl is being haunted by the previous victims. That is what the trailer sold it to us. Now, during the course of the movie, did you get that sense? Did you feel that the wife or the girlfriend was bad?
Yeah, I did. But I was told that there was a twist ending.
Yeah, we kind of ruined it for you.
You can ruin it for me.
Yeah.
So
There's a twist ending.
hey, there's a twist ending, Martin.
Keep your eyes open. There's a twist ending.
Try and figure it out during the whole movie so you can't actually pay attention to the movie.
Yeah, I wanted you to play detective. I really wanted to ruin this.
Yeah, thanks, jackass. So did I get that feeling? Kind of. Not really, actually. It wasn't like a typical J-horror, other than that the hero is a otherwise frail girl.
When I first saw this movie, I went completely with what the trailer said. I did not like this movie at all the first time I saw it. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I thought it was derivative and shitty, especially all that stuff with the bad girlfriend, bad mother. Oh, she's a killer. You know, she's trying to kill me. You know, that kind of stuff. What the studios wanted us to think the plot actually was. I hated it. I did not like that stuff at all. Even worse, I hated the ghost story stuff the first time I saw this movie. I thought that was terrible. Hated it. But you differ? You liked it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I didn't bring up before about how J-horror always has a rather frail, small woman as the hero. But can you think of any example where it's a strong male or a male in particular where it's like a hero?
Okay, a Japanese horror movie where there's a strong male lead. I cannot, for the life of me, think of a single one. There was that one movie that everyone says is a good movie, and they say it's one of the scariest movies ever made, called Audition.
Oh.
And that had a male lead and a female villain. I fucking hated that movie. That was so boring. But yeah, no, I can't think of any. Maybe our listeners out there can write in. They can think of something, because I sure as hell cannot.
I'm trying to think also for horror movies that come out of Hollywood. Is the lead usually female? Not always.
The final person is almost always a female. Final girl. That's even a term. The final girl. That's a thing.
Yeah, there usually is a final girl, but there's also usually a final guy. You know, they usually fall in love in the process of defeating some horror, ghost, monster, whatever you want to fill in the blank.
I'll tell you right now.
And you have a guy, girl. They're holding hands at the end. The sun's coming up. They survived. They're in love, and they have to cope and go on with the rest of their lives.
Okay, here it is right here. The Final Girl is a horror film, particularly slasher film trope, that specifically refers to the last woman or girl alive to confront the killer, ostensibly the one left to tell the story.
I guess it's female usually because socially everybody would equate female with being weaker and more vulnerable. than a guy.
Well, yeah, and she's virginal and all that shit. You know, all the people that are getting killed are the ones having sex. Whatever.
The sex thing, I think, really is more American Hollywood puritanical based. I think that movies that come out of Europe that are horror, I don't think would be like you would have the same kind of horror movie rules where sex is like a
taboo.
A taboo, and you're going to get killed if you have sex.
The Europeans are a little more lenient when it comes to sex. We have movies like Irreversible that have a 10-minute uncut rape scene. Maybe we'll watch that.
We are both laughing.
Yeah. By the way, I think you will get a kick out of this. I just did a search for Final Girl on Wikipedia, and that came up with something. I just did a search for Final Guy. You know what that came up with?
What?
Final Fight Guy. Remember that? Great game.
Final Fight is a great game. Speaking of European sex scenes, the finest sex scene,
Très Magnifique,
was by Antichrist, I believe. Was in the movie Antichrist.
I still haven't seen it.
It is shot in. There's literally like 1,000 frames a second, no holds bar. They actually had sex with each other. Beautifully shot. It's really good. Goes on for like 4 minutes. A baby falls out of a window and kills itself.
All right, come on. All right.
It's great.
Don't spoil movies that we're not reviewing because I want to see that.
Well,
one of these days I'm going to watch that.
I'm not spoiling this.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
I'm not spoiling the sex scene. I'm whetting your appetite for it.
Ooh, here's a fun fact for the uninvited. The house that the movie was shot in, which by the way looked really nice. What do you think?
It was beautiful. I would love to live there.
It recently sold for $6,950,000.
Probably worth it. It
was amazing.
Gorgeous.
Like if you got to be a really rich, successful author to live there.
I think that was supposed to be the guy who wrote the Da Vinci Code.
You think he's Dan Brown?
Yeah, that was
Dan Brown.
Yeah.
Hey, this may be of interest to you, given this movie's J-horror roots. It's not exactly J-horror, it's Korean horror. This movie is a remake of a 2003 Korean horror film.
That's really interesting because we're starting to get some movies that were Korean originally. The Departed, I think, is probably the most notable, right?
Yeah, the original movie is called A Tale of Two Sisters. Yeah, the Departed was what? Infernal Affairs?
Was Infernal Affairs.
That was the original?
It was a Korean remake. The original, I actually didn't like that much.
Oh, yeah?
No.
You thought America did it better?
I thought Martin Scorsese is probably a better director
than the Koreans?
Than the entire country of South Korea.
I wonder what this Tale of Two Sisters movie is like. I wonder if it's good. From the quick reviews I saw on Rotten Tomatoes, they compared the two unfavorably. They said that the original was way better. Of course.
I feel like every review is going to be like, the original's better, the source material is better, the book is better.
Well, like I said before, this movie has a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think that is?
It might be because people wanted a horror slasher movie and they didn't get it.
That's a great point. Now, this is probably a good a time as any to bring this up. This is something that has come up in our movie watching career a lot, where we see the trailers for a movie and we build up a certain expectation for it. Like, this is what I'm expecting from the movie. This is what I want. And then when you go see the movie, it's not it at all. It's something completely different. And you dock the movie a lot of points because of it. Do you think that's fair?
I don't think it's fair. I think whoever compiled the trailer is trying to get as many people to go see it as possible. They don't care if you like it or not. As long as your ass is in the seat and they're getting money, they really couldn't give a shit. However, I hate J-horror, and that's what I thought I was getting myself into. And so I'm looking at this right now. I'm reviewing it more favorably because it wasn't J-horror, and I was expecting it to be shitty, and it wasn't as shitty as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the last movie that I saw that recently had that old switcheroo thing going for it was Splice. They sold it as a slasher movie, as a straight up horror movie, and it was a lot smarter than the trailer would give it credit for.
Another great sex scene in that movie as well.
Oh, top 10 best sex scenes of all time.
You know what? I'm going to go with, I gave that movie a 5 out of 5 for that one scene. You could have just showed me that scene and said, this is the whole movie, just this scene. And I would have 5 out of 5.
Everyone within the sound of my voice, go rent Splice or buy it, whatever. Make sure
whatever you have to do. Break into someone's house that you know that has it. Punch a baby in the face. I don't care. Get this movie.
Get yourself a copy of Splice, a bottle of Jergens, and a box of Kleenex. That's your Saturday night. You're good to go. All right, what's next?
I think they actually sell it in sex shops. Splice. You
Yeah,
go
they
to
have
your local
Splice
sex shop.
right next to the double dildo.
Right next to Thor, the giant horse dildo. They got Splice.
Okay, what else? You got any other good talking points there?
Yeah, the audio in this movie is all over the fucking place. I couldn't hear what they were saying throughout the majority of the scenes. I had to continually turn it up and then turn it back down because there was going to be some type of scare going on.
You know, that's just modern horror for you.
I know, but this was a major offender. It was a lot worse than the than a lot of horror movies I've seen. I don't know if that's just the DVD. I don't know if it was like that in theaters, but this was bad with that, and it was annoying. I also am curious, Joel. What do you know off the top of your head what the usual mourning period is after a spouse dies?
Oh, is it immediately hook up with another woman?
Immediately have sex with somebody else and marry them 10 months later?
Well, what are the stages of grief? Let's see.
The first stage is denial, right?
I'll tell you right now in a second. We'll see where banging Elizabeth Banks falls into. Okay, step 1, denial.
Right.
I feel fine. This can't be happening to me.
Yeah.
Stage 2, anger. Why me? It's not fair. Stage 3, bargaining. Just let me live to see my children graduate. Kind of. That kind of fits.
I guess.
Stage 4, depression. I'm so sad. Why bother with anything? And
Acceptance.
Stage 5, acceptance. It's going to be okay. I can't fight it. I might as well prepare for it. I'm going to fuck Elizabeth Banks tonight.
I'm going to fuck her in my study.
She's going to break my award. I mean, did you see that award?
Yeah, that was a nice award, and she shattered it.
She shattered it, yeah.
To be fair, I think she was enthralled.
She was in the throes of passion.
Yeah, which is interesting. That one specific scene was the catalyst for this entire movie.
What,
the banging Elizabeth Banks on the in the study. That was the catalyst for the entire movie. Okay, so do you have any info on how long it usually takes somebody to mourn their spouse?
I'm afraid to look this up on Google right now because I don't know what kind of rabbit hole I'm going to fall down when I look. All right, what should I look up? Typical
mourning period.
Spouse. Oh, widower.
Widower, sure.
Widower's mourning. Yeah,
because I remember watching this, and that struck me as really strange and odd. It was almost like he just didn't give a shit.
How about I can give you gay grief and gay widowers. That came up. That might be of use.
Yeah, I'll put that in my hat for later.
What's normal when it comes to mourning? I don't want to.
Whatever. Fuck this question.
Yeah, I don't want to read this.
Doesn't matter. So, all right. I don't have any more talking points.
Yeah, there's a couple more talking points. The majority of the talking points I have left all have to do with the twist ending. So let's just
jump into it.
Well, before we get to that, let me just quickly rattle off the ones I have that don't have anything to do with that. Okay. First, I thought there were some nice shots in this movie. My favorite shot in the entire movie was a scene where Emily Browning is looking up at the sun. And she's got her hands, and like the sunlight is like coming through her fingers. That was very artistic. Very good job. This movie was directed by two guys called the Guard brothers.
What the hell does that mean?
Like unless you're the Wachowski brothers or like how many brother director teams are there? There's the Wachowski brothers, the Coen brothers, the guys who did the Book of Eli. They were brothers.
Hey, wait. Are the Wachowski still brothers?
Yes. Lana Wachowski.
Lana? It's the...
Well, they can still just call them the Wachowskis.
Did he have it cut off, or is it...
I think...
Is he post-op?
All right, you know what? Let's find out. The Wachowski brothers. I did not expect to be looking this up.
Well, to see if he still has a wang.
Yeah, sure. Shortly after the release of The Matrix Reloaded, it was rumored that Larry Wachowski began to make small public appearances dressed as a woman using the name Lana Wachowski. Larry Wachowski is now in the process of changing his sex, dressing in public like a woman, taking female hormones, and having a sex change operation.
So he's still pre-op.
In a 2007 interview, Joel Silver, the producer of numerous Wachowski films, stated otherwise, saying that all the rumors concerning Larry's sex change were all untrue. Further explaining, they just don't do interviews, so people make things up. Similar statements were made to Fox News by crew members working on the Speed Racer film. with one employee pointing out on the call sheets, it still says Larry.
Oh, okay.
Case closed.
So we can still call them the Wachowski brothers.
Yeah, what the hell were the name of the people that did the Book of Eli? The Book of Eli, directed by the Hughes brothers. There you go. All right, the Guard brothers. They did a pretty good job.
Hey, what did you think about the scene where she's...
Duplass brothers from the Mumblecore movies. Okay,
Jesus Christ. Okay, what did you think of the shot where she's going up into her attic crawl space? They put a bunch of beams in front of the camera to give perspective and depth, and there was that one light. I thought that was very pretty.
I don't even remember it. That's what I think about it.
Wait. All right. Then there was one other scene that I thought had a very well set up shot where she was walking through the graveyard, and there was, again, sun coming through the trees. And it was essentially a setup shot to show her environment, but I thought it was done very well.
Okay. Yeah, they did. Surprisingly, for the material that they're working with, they did a good job directing this. This movie looked good. Okay, another talking point I have here is we have a nice ghost molestation scene, ghost in bed molestation scene, just like in The Unborn. Remember in the very beginning of the movie, a ghostly decomposing arm just comes out of nowhere and grabs her knee and starts fondling her a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was a nice thing to have. Always a welcome thing.
Yeah, I'd actually go change my pants after that.
Ghost molestation. Can never get enough of that.
Okay, so let's jump right into the talking points that deal with the twist ending.
Yes. Oh, okay. One last thing I have. One last thing. For the 0% of people that are listening to this that like Stargate SG-1, there was a Stargate cameo in there for 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Don S. Davis from Stargate SG-1.
Sheriff's office?
Nope. He
Where the hell is it?
He had the most pointless cameo in the movie. In the scene where they're in the meat locker or whatever, he sticks his head up and he's like, hey, we need to get
those berries or
those berries or the meat or whatever the fuck.
Matt, those berries aren't getting any pressure.
Yeah, I'm sure all the Stargate SG-1 are really excited about this.
Now, you know, General Hammond is in this movie, so go check it out if you want to see him. All right, let's stop dancing around the issue and finally get to the meat and potatoes of this movie. So this entire movie is structured on the whole idea that the wife, soon to be wife, because they're going to be married soon, she's bad, and that she's a murderer. And
serial killer.
She's a serial killer, and she's being the hero's being haunted by these ghosts. Blah blah blah. And throughout the movie, the hero girl is seeing visions constantly.
It's also insinuated that these ghosts are visiting her to try and spur her
to save her,
to save her or spur her to get vengeance for them.
But in the end, ultimately, things don't turn out as they seem.
Essentially, and I guess you could kind of see this twist coming. Unfortunately, I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't see that twist.
Me neither. I didn't see it either the first time I saw it.
And
so they did a good job disguising it, I guess.
They really did, especially with the sister. Anna, the lead, is very mentally ill. She is so thoroughly schizoid that the hallucinations she's having and her inability to deal with her past of accidentally killing her sister and mother by burning down the boathouse by mistake after she catches her father cheating on her dying mother with the nurse is just too much for her mind to bear. So she just blocks it out and creates this pseudo reality. Essentially, she takes the gasoline from the boathouse where her mother was being kept and puts it in a watering can after she sees her father cheating on her mother in the main house. She's bringing the watering can up to the house to just burn the whole place down, killing her father and the nurse for cheating on her dying mother. Unfortunately, her sister comes back drunk, knocks over a lamp or lantern. There's gas still leaking out of the gas main that heats the complex and blows up the boathouse, killing her mother and drunk sister. The sister throughout the entire movie is a fabrication of her mind, or is it a ghost? They don't really ever explain it.
Female Tyler Durden.
Essentially, that's what it is. Or is it a ghost?
No, it's female Tyler Durden.
What about the mother, then?
What about her? Those are just delusions.
All the ghosts are delusions.
Yeah, she's just insane.
It's great the way that they break down her sister's character at the end. The light flickers on, there's a motion sensing light, and it shows her covered in blood. Originally, she sees the reflection of her sister holding the knife.
Yep.
The light comes on, her sister disappears, And what's revealed, it's that it is her holding the knife.
It was her all along.
It was her all along. She killed
Elizabeth Banks. That little girl murdered Elizabeth Banks. This 90-pound girl killed Elizabeth Banks, dragged her into a dumpster, and dumped her in there.
You know what, though? I don't feel bad for her because she's banging this guy while, the woman she's taking care of is withering away in a effing boathouse.
Hey, man, we all have needs. Come on.
Go find him somewhere else.
Well, like I was telling you before, I did not like this movie at all the first time I saw it. And it was a much different experience for me the second time.
You enjoy it?
I liked it a little better. I specifically was paying attention to see if the movie's internal logic held up.
In the same way that you would rewatch Fight Club.
Exactly.
If the internal logic held up.
And that's the perfect comparison, because just like Fight Club, these two movies are never the same twice. Like the first time you watch it is one way, and you can never get that first time. Like in the first time I ever saw Fight Club, I hated the Marla character. I thought she was a bitch. I couldn't, she's like, get her out of here. She's just causing trouble. But you watch it the second time and she's more sympathetic of a character. The same thing in this movie. The first time I hated everything having to do with the girlfriend story and the parents. But when you watch it now, it becomes a much sadder story of this insane girl that completely rips this family apart. So I thought they did a good job with that. I like that sort of thing.
Movies like this, I never really have a problem with, just because the second time you view it, the third time you view it, you pick up more details. I don't know. I think the movie gets more enjoyable every time you watch it.
This is a real slow burn, I guess. So the more you watch, the more you like it. Let's see. Oh, I thought that they did a lot of interesting things with the imaginary sister stuff.
Yeah.
I liked how she was essentially her conscience throughout the entire movie. Like the things that she would say, like in the beginning of the movie, like she would be like, "Why didn't you write me? Where were you? You didn't get my gifts or anything." Like these are all like her internalized guilt coming out. And then it goes from guilt to anger to her own internal delusions. Because if you remember, it was the sister that was perpetuating this whole plot line of the girlfriend of Elizabeth Banks being evil. It was the sister that kept pushing and pushing and pushing. So it was her own schizophrenic delusions personified, pushing her towards this eventual murder.
It was great though, because without that, the delusion of her sister pushing that, she wouldn't have been able to keep the charade going for as long as she could have kept it going, and she would have been forced to deal with the unfortunate memory of killing her mother and killing her sister. I mean, she also murdered her, I guess, boyfriend-esque character, because he essentially told her what he watched what happened.
He saw the truth. She pushed him off a cliff
and broke his back just because psychologically and totally erased the memory. She psychologically could not deal with it.
Yep. My first viewing, I thought that was dumb. On the second viewing, I thought that was a little better. I also thought that it was interesting that there's a scene where the mother rises up, the ghost of the mother rises up when she's in the boathouse or whatever, and she points her finger straight ahead and goes, the implication being that she's pointing to Elizabeth Banks. But in reality,
she's pointing at her.
At her, yeah. So even in her own mind, she knows. At her subconscious level, she knows that she did it.
But consciously, she's not willing to.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought, again, the first time I watched it, this is retarded. Second time I watched it, not bad. It's kind of interesting. Also, the sister character also represented her libido a little bit. If you remember, the boyfriend came up. They're sitting on the dock, and the boyfriend comes up, and the sister goes, "See you later," and abandons her. It's like, "No, you're not going to leave me here, are you?" It's like, what are sisters for? And kind of forces her to interact with the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Which is what I guess she wanted. Just like Fight Club, kind of. A little bit.
Yeah, it is. Her sister was taller, hotter, more forceful, stronger.
Yeah, she was free in all the ways.
The ways that she was not.
So poor father.
The man's cheating on his dying wife.
Does he deserve this? Really?
Yes, I have no sympathy for this man.
Okay, let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. His wife is dying. He is paying for her health care, keeping her alive, just because,
as he promised to do when he got married to her.
Yeah, just because he's weak and he wants to get his rocks off. He fucks Elizabeth Banks. Just because of that indiscretion, he deserves to have his girlfriend murdered, his dying wife blown up, his daughter blown away, And now him left alone with an insane daughter that murdered everybody. So he deserved it, right?
Yes, there's repercussions to your actions. And he was doing that in the house that his 2 daughters live in with his dying wife outside in a effing boathouse with gasoline everywhere. Yes, he deserves it. Why would he put his wife out into the goddamn boathouse?
All right, so
Why is she outside on a lake in a boathouse with a giant gasoline tank?
So let me get this straight, just for 1 second. Nicolas Cage goes on a cocaine-fueled spree through New Orleans, and you're okay with that. This guy fucks Elizabeth Banks, and he should be murdered.
I believe in the sanctity of marriage, Joel.
Do you think that the that the nipple shot at an hour and 4 minutes into the movie had anything to do with her insanity?
It had something to do with my insanity. I wanted to grab them, and I couldn't get through the television. I wanted to The Ring style, another J horror, go backwards in through to the television to grab her tits.
Yeah, I was wondering why you were slapping the TV. He's like, hey, knock it off.
They were phenomenal. I'm willing to fly to Australia just to see them. You seem to enjoy them. You wrote down the exact moment and second in the movie that occurred.
I did indeed. I'm like, Here's That's me scrawling. Okay. All right, let me talk about let's go back to the sister again. Like I said before, when I was watching this again for the second time, I was paying close attention to see if the internal logic and structure of the movie would work. And they did a really good job with how they dealt with the sister character. If you noticed, no one ever talked to her except for Emily Browning. Only the hero girl ever spoke directly to her. Whenever it looked like anybody was talking to her, it was just incidental. Like she just happened to be standing there every time. No one ever touched her either. They would always walk around her, stuff like that. So I thought they did a good job with that.
What I'm interested in knowing if I ever do watch this movie again is, does she speak to her sister in front of the other characters?
Yeah, she does multiple times.
And no one ever brings that up?
Nope, no one, because when she talks, she's doing two things when she talks to other people. She's being A, wise ass, or B, defending her sister. So there's no reason to say anything to her. Like everything that she says, it makes sense that no one would respond to it. Because they're just throwaway comments that she says. But she does indeed talk to people. Like she says, leave her alone, stuff like that. So
right.
It works. It works. When you watch it again, it does work. They did a good job with that. There are two things in this movie that I wonder whether or not, logistically it works. Okay, and I'll run them down with you. See what you think.
Well, I'm curious to know if the first thing is going to be the psychiatrist. In the 10 months that she was in the psychiatric hospital, he never brought up that her sister and mother were dead.
Maybe he did, and she just suppressed it
every time.
She seems to be pretty good at that.
It's her speciality.
That's her special mutant power.
Yeah, she was in the Z-Men. She didn't quite make it to the X-Men.
Okay, here are the things that I question whether or not they actually happened or not. Okay, number one, when we see the ghost of the boyfriend or whatever, when she has that delusion and she goes, "Look, it really happened," and she has all these bruises on her hands. Did she do that to herself?
No. If you watch the scene again, you'll see that the boyfriend was about to fall off the rock because she's pushing him off, and he's grabbing her arm very tightly to try and not fall off this cliff and die.
Touché. Well done, Guard Brothers. You did it again. You got me. Okay, and the other thing, now this is a little bit better. At the funeral for the boyfriend,
okay,
she sees the little ghost girl, and the little ghost girl leads her away into an area where there are the graves of 3 children that just happen to be the exact children of the ghosts that she's seeing in her delusions. And then she later goes on the internet and finds pictures of these exact kids on the internet. How would she know? How would she know that? Like exactly where to go, and like that they're here, they're buried here. Here they are.
Because her roommate spent the last 10 months telling stories about the children that she murdered.
Yeah, that's one thing, but it's not like she's going to go...
Probably where they were buried, probably where it happened.
Here are the exact GPS locations. Right ascension, declination, go here. Here's exactly where they are.
I don't know, man. That cemetery wasn't that big.
That's it. That's all I got.
Is it? That's it?
That's it. Those are my two.
I mean,
my two flubs.
she's living across from this psychotic's,
Mildred Kemp.
Yeah, Mildred Kemp.
That's the
who
worst name.
murdered-
That is the worst. Like mildew kind of name, right?
She looked like mildew.
She looked disgusting.
She actually looked like if you dug Kurt Cobain's body back up and had it act in this movie.
Gave him the Wachowski brothers sex change. You get Mildred Kemp.
That you get Mildred Kemp. Yeah, that's essentially what. No, yeah, that was spot on. That's exactly what it looked like. She was grunge, man. Did you see that robe she was wearing?
Yeah,
that flannel robe.
Yeah, I liked it. She's they're close to Seattle, I guess.
Hey, that's another thing. It was never raining. They were in the Pacific Northwest. It was sunny the entire movie.
How unrealistic.
What a joke.
Everything else, forget it. 1 out of 5.
1 out of 5. It wasn't raining once.
All right, that's all my talking points. You got anything else?
That's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Okay, Martin. Now's the time where we ask the question. Was it really that bad? Rotten Tomatoes says 32%, but the viewers say 52%. Either way, that's a shit score, no matter how you slice it.
That is a shitty score.
So on a scale of 1 to 5, what do you give 2009's The Uninvited?
I give it a 3 out of 5. And I think that it might be skewed because I was expecting something horrible and was giving something that maybe wasn't as shitty
considering
as I
we're on
thought
a
it was
show
gonna
called
be.
Yeah, It's That Bad.
I mean, we're running a podcast called Yeah, It's That Bad, and I thought it was going to be really shitty. The movie selection. We're gonna have to up our game next time. Pick a really shitty movie.
Don't worry, I got you. I got you covered.
Okay. What about you? What is your final score on the second?
Final verdict on The Uninvited. Like I said before, I did not like this movie at all when I first saw it. I gave it a 2 out of 5. Thought it was a joke. But on this second viewing, the movie completely changes for me. Completely changed the second time around. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was like a sad psychological profile of this deranged girl. Like when you know what's really going on and you see what's going on in these scenes, it's just it is kind of sad, like what's happening. So I'm going to bump it up. I'm going to match your score. A solid 3 out of 5. This movie has been saved from the dumpster bin. I was considering just throwing it away. So yeah, it's not that bad. 32%. I don't know. Let's see what did the critics have to say? A mild improvement over its nigh unwatchable predecessor.
Jeez.
The latest teen horror, directed by Charles and Thomas Gard, has a bit more patience than such films usually display. Not nearly as creepy or as stylish as the shot original, this version trades eerie atmosphere for clunky physical effects.
That's fair because I can't argue that. The physical effects were pretty shitty.
The trouble is a twist ending that even a brain-dead centipede will see coming a long way off.
Jeez, man.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's really
That's
burning
the sickest
me.
burn I ever heard.
Hey, but you just point your finger at me. I'm going to wag it back at you because you said that you didn't see it coming either the first time you watched it.
I guess I'm a brain-dead centipede. So the pace plods, the acting is unconvincing, and there are no goosebump moments.
See, but again, these people are expecting a slasher horror.
Yeah.
That's how they're rating it.
This is it. It's that whole expectation.
It's that whole expectation thing. They're rating it as that. And I didn't, I don't like those movies. That's not what I got. And so I'm a little happier about it.
Well, the final review is yikes, or rather, yawn.
Anyway.
Well done. One last note I want to end this on. Take a look at the cover art and the poster for this movie. It's a picture of a girl peeking through a window with her body pressed up to glass and her body is obscured.
You can't see the nipples.
Not at all. But this is like a recurring trend in poster design these days. This poster is just like the cover of the Human Centipede.
Yes, it is.
Where somebody is slapped up against the glass. And I know there are other movies that are just like this, but I can't picture them right now, but I know they're out there. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you know more, write in. Let us know.
Because Joel is that lazy. He won't look it up.
I won't do the work. I'm not... Making this podcast is enough work, I don't need to do any outside homework. Okay, Martin, I guess that wraps up The Uninvited. Tune in next week where we will be reviewing 2009's White Out, starring Kate Beckinsale. That movie's about a murder in Antarctica or something.
That sounds fucking horrendous.
Oh, well, tune in and see, and we'll find out if it's really
That bad.